Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Tim and this is Tim the Trailman. And today, if you like lights, boy do I have a good product review for you. We're gonna be comparing mostly the Lasfit low beam LED headlights to the Morimoto low beam headlights, but I also have this Auxito or Auxito brand as well, and I'm gonna be putting those in the high beam in the 4Runner and also in the reverse lights. Okay, real quick, to kind of go over some pricing and how I wound up with all these lights in front of me. For the Morimoto headlights, I went ahead and purchased these a little over 2 years ago when the two-stroke 3.0s were actually brand new. So I've had these for over 2 years and they've worked flawlessly. I did have one go out on me. Morimoto warranted that, no questions asked. It was simple. All I had to do was cut the cord and then show them a photo of it. They sent me another one. For Lasfit, they reached out to me a little while ago and said, hey, would you like to try our low beams? And I said, I already have low beams from Morimoto, but I'd love to do a product review and see how they stack up against the Morimoto headlights. So they were like, sure, we'll send them to you. They hooked me up with a discount code, so I did pay for these, but not full price. For Auxito, they also reached out to me and said, hey, would you like to check out our product? And I said, well, I already have some light bulbs that I'm already doing product reviews on. I don't know if I need any more. They said, we would love for you to do them. I went ahead and put some thought into it, and I said, you know what? I could use some LED reverse light upgrades, and I also need some high beams just to go ahead and check those out as well. So I went ahead and asked for those. So Auxito, thank you. They sent these to me complimentary for the product review and see how I liked them. Okay, next up for pricing, the Morimoto two-stroke 3.0s here in early 2023, they're ranging about $250 for a pair of LED low beam headlights for my 4Runner. That is extremely expensive price. You're kind of bumping up against to a whole headlight assembly, you know, $750 to $1,000 for a pair of that. But these would only upgrade your low beams. As a whole, you gotta really think about what you're going for there with the look or the function of the lights. For Lasfit, their LED upgrades at the time of this filming, they are running about $175 a pair for the 4Runner. So a little bit cheaper than Morimoto, and we're gonna see if their product stacks up against it with quality and output as well. For Auxito, I believe these high beams were about $100. The reverse lights I didn't look up. They normally don't go too much because they're just small LED bulbs. For this product review, I'm not gonna bore you with the individual specs of each one. You can go to their website and find that out. I'm more concerned about the overall light output, the beam pattern, and the function of the light, because I think that's what you're gonna be spending your money on, not so much specs off of a web page. So real quick, let's jump into the reverse light bulbs. Here they are on the screen. They're really simple to install on the 4Runner. I did have a pair of LED upgrades already. I think I got them from Amazon or something like that. So these seem to be similar in design. They're super simple to swap out. So here's the before LED video from straight behind, from the passenger side, and from the driver's side. And then this is me standing right behind the 4Runner. Okay, let's go ahead and swap it out to the next one. This is the Auxito behind, from the left, and from the right, and then me standing behind it. I really can't tell a difference in any upgrades, light output, or anything like that. So they do look comparative. And for the price I paid for the Amazon ones a couple years ago, and for these, I think they're the same quality, the same output. So in my opinion, they're gonna stack up and it doesn't matter which one you run. Okay, so moving on to the Auxito high beam ones. These are super easy to install. They do have a driver that will go ahead and lower the voltage for the DRL in the 4Runner. Here you can see what the daytime running light is, halogen for the 4Runner when they light up on the garage door. Okay, and here's the upgrade for the DRL for the Auxito and the LED. It's substantially a better light output. You do need to be careful driving down the road during the daytime because people might flash you. If the high beam and DRL are combined, the voltage driver may not be incorporated with it. So it's great to see at this price point that Auxito included the driver to vary that voltage and not basically be running your high beams during the daytime, blinding oncoming traffic. Throughout the video, there are some other examples of the high beam being used. That was just for the daytime running lights there. And then we'll get to the high beam with the other comparisons when they're installed. Real quick before diving into the comparison for the Lasfit and the Morimoto, I do want to tell you two things that I did discover for each one. Here on the Morimoto light, the little tab at the top is used to hold in the light into the assembly. On one of the lights, the tab seemed to be bent a little bit and it was impossible to get that headlight bulb to turn into the assembly. So I had to kind of finagle a little bit with a pocket screwdriver, flatten it out and turn it in. It was real cumbersome. It's a good design. In this case, one of the LEDs was troubling to put in. For the Lasfit, the problem that I ran into on the driver's side, they are marked drivers and passenger for design. The driver's side cover, it was a little bit troublesome to turn the plastic in. The passenger side went in just fine, and you need to use their housing. Overall, their design, it has a fan built into the back of the LED, and it does have a fan built into the cover. And so you need that a little bit of extra space, for all of those features. The other downside I don't necessarily like about Lasfit, and I don't know if it's a real problem or not, it could just be in my head, is that the Lasfit, they want to keep the back circuit cool. So most of them will come with a fan on the back side. You can see here even Auxito puts a fan on the back side. But what they also did is they incorporated a fan into the cover of the headlight assembly. So the fan will suck air out of the assembly and out into the engine bay to help keep the circuitry cool on the LED. For clarity, the LED does not burn hot, it's the circuit that does. I don't really like the idea of openings in the cover. This is a cover and something to keep moisture and dust sealed out of the headlight assembly. I don't know if it will actually let anything leak by as it's pushing air out, but I do off-road and go through mud holes and everything like that. So an opening here, not super thrilled about, but I don't know really long-term if it is a problem. So in comparison, Morimoto, what they did is that they have a really cool video on their website. What they did is they have a fan inside the housing. It's completely sealed, and air will actually suck in from the inside of the assembly, cool down the circuitry, and then blow out that hot air back into the assembly. So if there's any frost or anything on the headlight assembly or fog, it actually helps dry out the assembly from the inside using the air that it sucked in, cooled the circuitry, and then blew that hot air back into it. So when these are installed with your OEM cover on the low beam headlight, the headlight assembly is completely sealed, unlike the Lasfit. May or may not be a big deal. I just wanted to point that out before we get started with the comparison. Okay, so moving on to the main headliner for Lasfit LED low beams versus Morimoto low beams. This is what I went ahead and set up as well. I'm going to be using the garage door for beam pattern and intensity, as well as then what the overall light output looks like. Then we're gonna move into a parking lot situation and just kind of look at what the lights look like with street lights and things like that, because let's be honest, you're not driving your car standing in front of a garage door the entire time. I also didn't go to a pitch black place because there's very few times that you're ever driving in a pitch black environment. You're more so going to be driving down streets with street lights. I believe it's more of a real world situation, being able to see how they get washed out, overcome street light pollution. Okay, so first up, I already had the Morimotos installed. So this is them on the garage door. And you can see here the beam, the pattern is intense, it's focused, and the light cutoff is not too high. And so I believe that they look really good. And then I turned on the Auxito high beams, and you can see what those look like now as well. For me, the Auxito high beam is going to be a win over the halogen high beam. I'm gonna go ahead and leave those on, and let's move on to the Lasfit low beam comparison. Here's the Lasfit LED low beams on the garage door. The beam pattern seems to be a little bit more spread out. The cutoff is good. And the light output seems to be equal to the Morimotos as well. Real quick, I do apologize for any of that film or footage that might have been grainy. I'm not super great at running the camera at night, but it did seem to capture it and focus it. If anything was out of focus, I do apologize about that. Okay, so I went down the road to this open parking lot with some street lights, and I went ahead and got out the drones. I kind of wanted to see what it would look like from the driver's viewpoint, and then from oncoming traffic, I went ahead and flew the drone in front of it. And just for fun, I went ahead and turned on my amber LED Lasfit rock lights that I recently installed. If you want to see that, you can visit the channel and see that video as well. They are super cool. I went ahead and started off with the Lasfit comparison here in the video because they were already installed from my house. Here you can see how the beam looks going down through the parking lot. And I turned on the high beam so you have a comparison of how much more the high beams cover past the low beams with the Lasfit. And then here, flying the drone in one direction, you can see the Lasfit low beams on the 4Runner. And then heading back the other way, you can see with them turned on, the LED Kelvin color looks to match the Lasfit perfectly with the Auxito. So I think it'll look good going down the road, as well as perform perfectly as well. I went ahead and swapped out the Morimoto LED headlights in the parking lot. So now let's go ahead and see what those look like from above. You can see the coverage there, and you can go ahead and see the Auxito headlights turn on as well. The throw is much further with the high beams as designed, and you can see where the Morimoto's cut off as well. Now looking at from the drone's viewpoint, as we fly in the one direction, you can see them just covering great and looking good on the front of the 4Runner. Going back the other direction with the Auxito high beams on with the Morimoto low beams, I believe the Kelvin is a good match there as well and looks good on the 4Runner with great light output and coverage as a whole. So let me ask you real quick, if I didn't tell you which one was which in the parking lot or in front of my garage door, would you have been able to tell if it was the Lasfit lights or the Morimoto lights that were turned on, whether it be from the beam pattern, the focus, the intensity, or the Kelvin output? For me, I really can't tell the difference. I did notice while driving down the road a little bit with the Lasfit lights, I did get a couple of flashes from oncoming traffic that I normally didn't get with the Morimoto headlights. So even though I can't tell a difference, for oncoming traffic, they did seem to notice something a little bit different, even though I didn't adjust the headlights at all for this comparison. It was simply just swap out the light bulb, no adjustments. I ran them just the way the headlight assembly was for both of them to keep it apples to apples. So tell me in the comments if you could tell which one was which, if I didn't tell you which ones they were. Okay, so as we wrap up, tell me what your thoughts are. Do you like the Morimoto, the Lasfit, or the Auxito? I know the Auxito was a high beam, so it's not apples to apples. The main headliner was Morimoto versus Lasfit, but I want to go ahead and throw those in there for you. I wanted to give a shout out to my patrons. They mean a lot to me and to this channel. And if you'd like to be a patron too, head on over to patreon.com/Tim the Trailman. Thank you for all your support. What are your thoughts on this product review for price point, features, benefits, brand recognition? Do you pay just for the name? Do you get what you pay for? Do you always have to pay the most to get the best, or is a lower price the cheapest? Is that going to be good enough for you? Or do you even care what type of lighting you have on your build? Also, what other type of product reviews would you like to see me do? I'm open to some ideas and suggestions. I'm happy to compare them and run them on my rig to get you the best information as possible. If you'd like to see more content like this, be sure to hit the like button. That helps out the channel. Hit the subscribe button so you'll know when new videos drop. And as always, thank you for watching. Welcome to the greatest show on the earth. This is the Trailman.